Hello. Hello all. It is Shadobe. I wanted to make this video because next month will basically mark 1 year of streaming, and I kind of wanted to just give my opinions and thoughts on, I don't know, everything I've kind of learned over the year. Um yeah, it's definitely been interesting. There's been like a lot of ups and a lot of downs, honestly. And yeah, I just kind of wanted to go over it. So first off, to kind of give background on me starting streaming, I started streaming last year because basically I was just kind of bored in life, and I've always had a passion for like entertaining people. I've always wanted to get into like acting and singing and stuff like that. And so, I mean, somebody brought up to me, I mean, you could just start streaming on Twitch. The category I'm in, Epic 7. I mean, like it's a category I'm familiar with. I've been playing it for years, so it's like I already know it like the back of my hand, right? So I might as well get into the content creation space that way. So I mean, yeah, that's kind of what I did. And I'm very grateful for those that helped me, especially at the start. My very first stream ever, I had a what I consider a rather large streamer raid me for the first time because I became friends with them, and they offered to raid me. So I mean, like, it gave me a huge boost of confidence. It made me feel like, like I really had a chance. Like it was a really great way to start off streaming, with my first ever stream being rated and just having like 100 views on the first stream. Now, I mean, of course, that doesn't carry over into every single day after that. I still had to work my way up, but it gave me a lot of confidence early on because even though it might not look like it or sound like it, I am a very anxious person. I was very shy, very nervous to start streaming, even though it's something entertaining is always something I've wanted to do. But yeah, so I mean, like, even though I had a pretty great start and I had a lot of people helping me, I still did have to work my way up. I literally started off with like, just 5 viewers, 2 viewers. That lasted for, like weeks. And then, slowly worked my way up to 10 viewer average per week, or, per stream. And that lasted for a few weeks as well. And I mean, like, it's great. It felt great to just like see myself slowly growing as a channel. And then especially like at the point where I was starting to average like 40 views a stream, and then you know like it really made me happy that I was kind of growing at what felt like a pretty fast rate. And it does help because I stream in a niche category, Epic 7. It's like a pretty tight knit community for the most part. I'm still not even that widely known, but I am known. And so yeah, I mean, like, it started off great, even though it was really nerve-wracking, and I'm like, oh, I don't know what to do here, I don't know what to do there. And honestly, like, what really became a problem is kind of worrying about how I could get known. So like, I started off my streams by, kind of like telling people like, oh, let me introduce myself. I'm Shadobe. I like to pretend I look, I'm Ryan Gosling because some people say I look similar to him and all that. It's just like a silly thing. But I also like doing voice acting. I like singing and all that. So I started off streaming kind of like, trying to do those things while just having Epic 7 as sort of like, my ground base, where everyone can find me. Because that's a category I knew, and that's what I could offer people, as I play this game and I know what's going on in it. But with that, it became too much of a problem of worrying about numbers, and I was even warned about it multiple times of, don't pay attention to the numbers, just focus on what you're doing and focus on having fun. But it really became a problem because I had a stat tracker on the side the whole time. I'm just watching that view number go up and down. I'm watching my sub count go up and down, my follower count go up, and then, even like seeing 1 or 2 followers just unfollow, whether they were bots or whether they actually just didn't like my content anymore. It really got to me, and it shouldn't have. Um, and so what ended up happening is I'm like, well, I'm really good at the competitive scene in Epic 7. So I'm just gonna heavily focus into that because it seems like most people tune in when I'm very competitive focused. And you know, it became a problem because then, you know, I stopped singing. I stopped doing funny little skits. I stopped you know, just trying to entertain people with voices and whatnot like the way I wanted to. And so rather than being myself, I just became known as, you know, the RTA guy, the real time arena guy, the competitive guy, which there's already plenty of those. And then, you know, it just became like I would get jealous of other streamers as well because there were streamers that would, you know, I'd be like a few months into streaming, and then occasionally there'd be a brand new streamer that pops up and they start getting a ton more views than me or whatever just from the get-go because they're higher ranked than me in competitive. And I'm like, you know, thinking to myself, well, this sucks. This feels horrible because I'm out here, like, I've been trying for months and whatever. I've tried creative stuff, I've tried pure competitive stuff, and now I'm just getting like outpaced because somebody's a higher rank than me. And you know, that's another problem I ran into. So now I'm worrying about numbers, I'm worrying about statistics, and now I'm also jealous of others that are doing better than me just because they're, you know, doing better in competitive scene than me, or their name is just more known from the get-go. And so like it just really starts getting to me, and you know, it becomes overwhelming. So then I'm in sort of this like death spiral of I gotta keep pushing, you know, what's been getting me the consistent views. I gotta keep going into it. And then, you know, it starts to burn you out, especially because like I don't do streaming as a living. It's just, you know, it started as a hobby for me. And I have a lot going on in real life, you know, throughout streaming. I had one job. I quit that job so I could move cities, and then I moved cities, and then, you know, I'm looking for a new job. I'm looking for my own place to live. So I've got all these things going on in the background while I'm still trying to grow as a streamer. And then, you know, I'm really just focusing on all the wrong things. And a big problem of it is self-advertisement as well, because I wasn't really advertising myself through like Reddit or other sources of media. It was pretty much just streaming on Twitch, which is a pretty bad thing to do because your only way of getting found is through raids or, you know, raiding others or having others raid you. It's really not great, but I did that. That is how I kind of climbed up to eventually I was getting like, you know, for a little while I was getting like 100 views on average and it felt great, but it also became like, oh, I gotta time this stream perfectly to where this big streamer is not streaming at the moment or something like that, something dumb. Because I knew once they started, then the people watching me would leave. So, you know, here I am, like, I'm burning myself out. I'm way too focused on what other people are doing. And then I've kind of lost sight of my own goal of what I even wanted to do as a streamer. And then so even if I'm like trying to do variety of like, oh, you know, let me try to branch out a little bit. Let me try to do something else and see what sticks. Well, then I go from my normal like consistent average views in the competitive scene down to very, very, very few people that are just loyal to my channel, and I'm very grateful for them. I really am. But it's like I'm still focusing on numbers, and now it's like I try to branch out and then I feel horrible because now nobody's there really. And so like this whole time I'm just kind of like beating myself up over like, what am I doing wrong? Am I even doing anything right at this point? I don't know. You know, what am I even streaming for if I'm just competitive guy this or number 257, right? And so like I'm beating myself up over that, and then, you know, that's probably one of the worst things you can do. And then like another thing that I found out was it can be great getting advice to start out streaming, or at least it can feel great getting advice, because like I wasn't confident in myself. I wasn't sure that I could do this or grow at all. And so what I would do is, you know, I'd ask friends, I'd ask other streamers like, oh, what should I do? Or you know, do you have any advice for, you know, doing this or that? And then at the same time, I'm watching YouTube videos of like, if you're a new streamer, you know, you gotta watch out for this, or you should set up your streams like this or that or whatever. And you know, they all that's the thing, is like I put myself into this position where I'm reaching out to others for advice. But what that kind of did was it took away from who I am as not only a streamer but as a person. So now I'm trying to basically fix my streams and change how I am creatively to match what's tried and true, you know, what works, you know, what sticks for the most people. And you know, that might work for some people. Maybe some people do just want to stream as a competitive person, but that's not what I got into the streaming area for. So, you know, while everybody giving me advice and all that, they had good intentions, and it's my fault because I went out and asked for that help. So, like, while they're trying to help me because they don't want to see me fail, I ended up failing because I was reaching out for help. Rather than doing my own thing, rather than just like showing my creativity for what it is, and you know, if I fail on my own terms, I was failing on somebody else's terms because they wanted to help me. And it's like that feels horrible, and it also doesn't make sense because, you know, you're like, why would I fail from somebody else helping me? You know, you shouldn't fail from someone else helping you out of like, you know, their own goodwill. If you fail, it should be, you know, on yourself. You know, you shouldn't have failed because you listened to someone else. I think it feels worse if you fail by listening to others for help than failing on your own terms. Like, if I tried out this skit and nobody liked it, at least it's on me. I tried it for myself, you know, and then I can find what works and doesn't work on my own terms without, you know, some YouTube channel helping me, without my friends being like, you know, here's a really popular streamer, this is how they did it, you know, like, and it's nothing against them. They're trying to help, but at the same time, you're limiting yourself by doing that. I limited myself by doing that. And so, like, you know, it's just everything all at once. I'm trying to get help when I shouldn't. I'm paying attention to numbers when I shouldn't. I'm really just getting rid of everything that makes me me because I'm trying to chase growing as a channel. Which, it's like, you know, maybe it helped for the beginning. Maybe it was good that I did that because it gave me a little launch at the start so I could get some views. But then it becomes like I'm not taking any risk. I'm not doing anything creative. I'm not doing anything I find enjoyable, because some of my most enjoyable streams were also my most enjoyable streams for the people watching me. I've done multiple skits, and even though they didn't have the most views, and even though I uploaded them to YouTube, they still didn't get that many views. People were telling me like, oh, this is like your best stream ever. This is really fun. And then, you know, so that felt great. You know, the few times I showed my creativity, it did well. And I just didn't stick to it, especially because I would kind of show it to other people after the stream, and they would kind of look at it and they'd be like, oh, I see what you're going for, but you know, it looks a little rough, you know, it looks like it's not really, you know, professional, or you didn't go all out for it. Which, sure, you could say that, but at the same time, when I hear that from other people and when I listen to them, I'm like, oh, I didn't do well enough, even though people liked it. I should have made it more professional. I should have put more time into editing and, you know, making it as smooth as possible. But really, that just made me not do anything creative at all, because I'm like, oh, I don't have the skills to make it 100% professional. I don't have the knowledge or the time even available to make this masterpiece that's gonna blow everyone out of the water. But you know, really, that I think it's better that I make something unprofessional, because I'm still making something and it's still me. Like, so what I found out is like, you have to offer something to people that isn't just your, you know, your tried and true cookie cutter kind of content. Because it's like, sure, while you know, maybe years down the line that's how it develops, but it's like, I would rather create absolute garbage as long as it's my garbage, rather than creating something that's not creative at all, but it's very professional looking. And you know, maybe maybe I fail because of that. Maybe it doesn't get as many views because of that. At this point, screw it. I would rather create garbage that's mine than create something professional. Because the whole reason that I consider myself to have failed after streaming for 1 year is because I lost sight of who I was as a content creator. You know, what do I actually think is fun? What do I actually want to provide to people? I got so caught up in what other people were telling me, the numbers, you know, what I should or shouldn't do, that I gave up on all my passions in a year of streaming. So I grew at first, I grew to like 500 followers, and then for months and months, I've been stuck at 500 followers because I'm not doing anything different. I'm doing the same thing every day that I stream. And you know, I'm pushing that same stream for many days a week. I was basically running myself dry because I wasn't taking time off from streaming to kind of think about what I wanted to do or think about how can I make it better. I was just like, gotta be consistent, gotta stream every day, gotta do blah 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 blah. And you know, maybe some others don't see it as I've failed, and that's fine, but I view it as I failed myself. Maybe my stream isn't failing, but I failed myself because I stopped doing what I wanted to do. And you know, that's the biggest problem, I think. Like, nobody really is gonna see what you're thinking. Nobody's really gonna understand what you want, even if you tell them directly what you want. And because of that, you're never really gonna go anywhere if you're listening to others, which is kind of weird to say because I relied so heavily on others and on others' feedback, on constructive criticism, and all that. But really, I think the best times I've had and the best streams I've had is when I didn't ask a single person for help. I didn't get feedback from anyone. I completely did a surprise stream. I just booted it up, and from the moment I started, nobody knew what was going on. I had just was doing a random skit with, you know, my own voice acting, pretending to swap characters and everything. Nobody understood what was happening. And I think that made it the most fun because that was what I wanted to do. That's what made it fun for me, and other people found it fun as well. There was no help involved. Nobody else told me how to set it up. It was very scuffed. I had like multiple browsers that I would just kind of pop up as an overlay or whatever here and there. None of it made sense. None of it was professional, but it was fun. It was fun, and it was raw creativity. Nobody helped me with it. And I think that's what it should be. I think that's what I need to start doing more, and I've kind of been streaming less as of recently because I've been trying to take the time to figure that out and figure what I actually want to provide to people. Because I think the worst thing you can be, at least in my opinion, is just, you know, competitive player this, or, you know, just, you know, it's your everyday Joe streamer here. Because, like, again, nobody's gonna see what you're hoping for. Nobody's gonna see what you really feel like, or, you know, what your creative side is like. Nobody's gonna see that if you tie yourself down to what's gonna work the best, you know, what's the most tried and true thing I can do to grow. Like, it's only gonna get you so far before you burn yourself out or you just give up entirely. And I don't want to give up entirely because I always want to entertain people, whether I'm streaming, whether I become a famous actor someday, you know? Like, I learned that it's my creative side that I've always had at heart. That's what's important. That's what I should be doing. Because ever since I was a kid, I've always written made up stories out of, you know, whatever pops into my head. I never asked for anyone's help on it. I never asked for what other people thought of it. I created it, I showed it to other people, and they liked it for what it was. That's what it should be for streaming or any content creation at all. You know, and then just make sure you advertise it appropriately, you know, put it on Reddit or something like that, put it on YouTube. And then that's what I should be doing. I should be writing more skits or whatever, doing it by my own accord, not asking what other people think of it beforehand. I should just make it for fun, and then that's that. If it fails, that's on me. If it doesn't fail, and then I did it right. I had fun doing it, and it turned out great. Um, but yeah, that's kind of really all I wanted to say. I don't want to drag this on for too long, but I kind of wanted to give my thoughts on it because it's been an entire year of tons of up and down, and maybe this helps other people out there that are trying to start streaming, or anything like that. Maybe it's just kind of I don't know, some sort of testament to what I've done, and maybe it's a good sign of what I'm hoping to grow into going forward. Because again, it's been an entire year of feeling stagnant, basically, because I gave up on my passions and I just followed what worked rather than being myself. So I mean, yeah, I hope this helps others, or maybe it gives you some insight to who I am as a streamer, or maybe just an insight for other streamers in general. Maybe there's other people that feel like this as well. Um, but yeah, kind of weird video. Hope you enjoyed it. I am working on stuff, so we'll see when I can get the new funny content out, and how much I can stick with it. But yeah, thanks for listening, guys. I appreciate it, and I am very grateful for all my friends, all the other streamers that have rated me, wanted to see me grow as much as I could. I'm really grateful for everyone, including my viewers, lurkers, chatters. Like, it really does all mean a lot to me. I'm not taking it for granted whatsoever, but I needed to take some time to kind of like realize who I am and what I should be providing to you all. So thank you all, and I'll see you around. Bye bye.